What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Matt, one of the hosts of the Black Hills Podcast, and today I want to do a thing where I talk about a lot of the new Shonen series that I have in my collection, and just give a chance to let people see new things, and kind of like cut the line on what's actually new gen or new generation. Because it's the big debate of like, oh, it's My Hero Academia, Black Clover Shonen? Well, new Shonen, new generation Shonen. Well, kind of, not really. I mean, they're kind of like the older heads of the new generation, but they're not really a part of this generation either. Those started back in like 2015, 2014. So yeah, let's talk about things that are like 2019 on forward, things that actually went into the 2020s. So, and also I'll be doing this in one sitting, but I'll have it broken down in different parts. So if you see me with the same hat, similar looking shirt, don't think I'm not hygienic. I don't wear the same clothes every day. It's just how I'm breaking this up. But enough of that. Let's get started with the video. And to start it off, let's talk about the first series I have on deck, which is Ayakashi Triangle, made by Kentaro Yabuki. Now, Kentaro Yabuki is probably like the godfather of ecchi series. So, I mean, obviously, the guy's only... I think he made To Love Ru, which is back in like... I don't know, like 2008 maybe, something like that. He also made, I think, Black Cat. That was a series like in the 2000s, early 2000s too. But yeah, currently he's making this series, Ayakashi Triangle. Yes, this is an ecchi series, fan service series, but they kind of break it down. You have the main character, Matsui. He is best friends and childhood friends with the main female lead, Suzu, and they both live in a world surrounded by Ayakashi, of mystical demons and stuff like that, fairy tale demons, folktale demons and stuff like that. And Matsuri, he is a exorcist. He's a ninja exorcist. So he actually has control over wind and stuff like that. And one day when he faces down the king of Ayakashi, Shirogane hits him with a curse that turns him into a girl. And from there, Matsuri is trying to figure out a way to get himself back into his boy body. And he's also learning a bit more about Suzu and why she's always been able to see these Ayakashi even though regular people can't see them. So, it's a fan service series, but for the most part, the idea is how to get Matsuri back to this form. He turns into a girl, with a nice design and everything, but the main idea is how do we get him back? And also, these two like each other, and to start their relationship, they want to get him back to a boy, blah, 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 stuff like that. But, it's all good fun. So, yeah, pretty much for that, it's like the wacky adventures, fan service moments, and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's good fun. That's what I can say about it. It's like sometimes you need something to just tell back from the Jujutsu Kaisen violence and the Chainsaw Man wackiness. Which, by the way, I don't have Chainsaw Man in my collection, so that's not gonna be here. But we're not talking about that. So yeah, that's pretty much like thing for Ayakashi Triangle. I like it because the art is fantastic. The characters are very funny, and I also like the characters a lot, so the cast is cool. The moments and the details on a lot of Ayakashi are pretty good too, so there's that. And, so another thing I can give it as a compliment. There's plenty of things I compliment on it. But I think all in all, like the actual plot of the series, where Matsuri really focuses on like his relationship with Suzu, and kind of like the dilemma of what happens if he never gets turned back into a boy, is actually pretty good. So yeah, I would say, that part of the story is fun, but for the most part, the fan service is fun. So there's a lot of wacky adventures in it. So I find it funny. I think some people would not find it funny, but yeah, it all depends on whether or not you like it or not. So let's move on to the next thing, which is Blue Box, which is told by Koji Miura. I had to make sure I said it correctly. And this one follows the story of Taiki. He is a high school freshman who enjoys badminton. And then you have Chinatsu, who is the basketball captain, and she's also a year older than Taiki. So the two of them are pretty much going to the same school. Taiki is always admired and is in love with Chinatsu. And, just to kind of make himself seem better, he's trying his best to be like the top of his sport, especially given the fact that Chinatsu is so good in her sport as well. And circumstances happen, and Chinatsu actually ends up living with Taiki for a bit because, her father gets hurt in an accident while out at work, so her mom goes to check on him, and Chinatsu needs a place to stay. The families actually have known each other for a while, so Taiki's family is like, hey, Chinatsu, come on, be a part of a group. So yeah, with the story, my favorite thing about it is that, it's a romance and it's sports manga. Sometimes it doesn't do the sports moments like I want it to, and I understand that it's mainly part of the romance series, but it's just that, like, the way the creator draws everything, it actually would seem like he would do the sports element very well. So if we were able to see like an actual full game by him, I think that would be really dope. So far, we've had like quick moments and maybe, like just seeing people practice, or if it's a game, we're kind of like towards the end of it. Like we might see it start and then we'll see the end of it, but we won't see the actual full game of it. So I don't know. I just wish they would kind of do that, but yeah, it's besides the point. So yeah, the art is fantastic, but another thing about it is Taiki is actually a very good romance like MC. He has some of the usual, I don't want to say generic things for romance MC, like being oblivious and stuff like that, but he actually is a very hardworking person. Like given the fact that the sports element is in there, you get to see him do a lot of work on the sports element part of it. So you get to see him practice so much. You get to see him work hard to win a game. You see him frustrated when he loses. It's really good stuff for there. Chinatsu the same way. And also, these two together, it's a really good duo. It's funny. Actually, Taiki bounces off the cast very well. So, yeah, I think the cast itself is fire. The moments between Chinatsu and Taiki are really good. And it's another thing to point out about it. It's funny. It is really funny. Like I said, Chinatsu and another girl, Hina, my favorite, they they bounce off of Taiki so well, and there's a lot of like comedic moments in the series that just work so well. So yeah, I think if you're a fan of like romance series, and maybe you're a fan of like shoujo series, I'd say, I'd definitely pick this one up. But just understand it's shonen, so some shonen things happen, and sometimes it's some oblivious moments, some moments of just like, oh my gosh, this is so dramatic for no reason. But it's all good fun. So yeah, I definitely recommend Blue Box, and I really do enjoy it. But enough of that one. Let's move on to the next one, which is Call the Night by Kotoyama. Now, the anime for this is actually really good, so I do recommend watching the anime for it too. I would say, it's on High Dive, so I don't know. If you go the old One Piece way of watching anime, then you wouldn't have a problem. But if you don't do that, look up High Dive. It's pretty cheap. I think it's only like $5 out the month. But yeah, very good anime to watch. Very great adaptation. But we're not here to talk about the adaptation. We're here to talk about the story. So the story of it is you have Koyamori, who's a middle schooler. He actually is very bored with going to school and just doesn't see the point in going to school, so he stops going to school. So he's not exactly a dropout, but he pretty much has in his mind like, you know what, I ain't going to school no more. But no, he actually is a very good student and everything like that. But like I said, he gets tired of doing it. So one day he decides, you know what, I'm not gonna go to school. I'm gonna stay home, and then after nighttime hits, I'm gonna hit the streets. So while he's outside, way past, midnight and stuff like that, he's enjoying himself, he's having fun. And on the way there, he runs into Nazuna. And Nazuna, she's like, oh, look at this. The little middle school boy is out, breaking the rules. How bad is that? Da-da-da-da-da. So it actually turns out Nazuna is a vampire. And Nazuna is actually, like, doing her best to show Ko, like, just like the excitement of the nightlife, not in that type of way, but it could seem like that sometimes. But yeah, and the two of them actually like bounce off each other very well, and a lot of stuff happens that get very serious in the story. But to really give credit to this one, I think since it's a vampire story, it actually takes a lot of twist on like vampire activities, like how to become a vampire, what do vampires do, what's vampire society like, and stuff like that. There's some of the usual things about vampires. Oh, they all are beautiful. Oh, they are also seductive and stuff like that. They have to drink blood, things like that. But a lot of twist on vampire life and how vampires are normally perceived in certain ways. Ko is a really great protagonist, especially with what happens later on in the story. Like, oh my gosh, the art that just finished, fire. It was fantastic and heartbreaking. Very, very heartbreaking. Back to this point. But yeah, so there's that. But outside of that, the main thing of it is seeing Yamori, seeing how he has to like kind of move through and understanding like how he wants to live life and how a lot of people live life, like the right way to live life or just the normal way to live life. And yeah, it's just interesting to see. So like the two characters, Ko and Nazuna, they bounce off each other very well. The characters that get introduced later, he bounces off of them perfectly too, and they're all very interesting. They're all very fun. And yeah, later on down the line, a lot of moments get very serious. So I definitely recommend this one. It's a really good investment, and you will really enjoy yourself reading it. So yeah, definitely Call the Night. Check it out. Plus the art is fire too. I mean, some people might not like the style. I do. I think it works very well for like how they do like the nightlife and how a lot of scenes will be played out during, like nighttime and stuff. So I definitely do recommend this one, especially if you want to look at something visually nice. But that's it for this one. Now let's move on to the next one, which is okay. So the original title was like the elite defense force of like the slave of the elite defense force, the Mato or whatever, but they changed it to chain soldier. I thought that was very lame. I mean, I understand why they couldn't just be like, ooh, look, chain slave or whatever, but chain soldier is just very weak in comparison. But aside from that, though, to actually talk about the story actually follows Yuki Wakara, who is living in a world where there is a second dimension that you can fall into called Mato, and the people that defend the regular Earth from the Matoverse monsters are these women that eat these things called peaches, and they are the Mato Defense Force. So, I mean, in a way, I guess you kind of think of it like a Twin Star Exorcist type situation. I was about to say Blue Exorcist, but they don't really go into the other dimension until much later on in the story. But yeah, so it's kind of like that, just like interdimensional defense force thing. But yeah, the thing with Yuki, he one day gets trapped in Mato where he accidentally falls into the space, and he is then saved by Kyoka, the 7th chief of the Mato Defense Force, and she has this power to where she can actually control these monsters and make them her slaves. So yeah, that's the part of the chain soldier part. But yeah, so she actually never tried to use her power on a human, but with Yuki there and the monster she was already using having died, she decides, well, let's test it out. So she uses the power on Yuki, and then Yuki becomes this great big monster thing that is able to fight. And Kyoka's not a bad fighter herself. She's actually a phenomenal fighter. So yeah, the two of them work together. And then you find out the other part of Kyoka's powers, which is that she has to give a reward to the person that she just used, or the monster normally that she used, which normally entitles just feeding him jerky or just feeding him some meat or something. Yeah, but this one, Yuki being a teenager, he wants some other things as his reward. So this is kind of like Akashi Triangle. This is another kind of ecchi series. Not kind of, definitely an ecchi series. So it's a lot of moments in this one that are fan service made, stuff like that. But the plot is very good because you learn that the Defense Force has a couple of secrets. You also learn that, people have been deeply affected by Mato in ways that we never would have assumed. And also there are these very powerful monsters moving in the background that really want to destroy Earth or destroy humanity and control Earth. Kind of a usual thing, but they're also very interesting. So the highlights for this series, the cast, most importantly, the fan service, the scenes with the cast involved with each other, and the powers that the ladies use, they're used very good, very great in battle. So yeah, I definitely say just the way a lot of the fights happen, a lot of ways that the fights work, always satisfying in how they end and stuff like that. But yeah, mainly the main point for this, honestly, to me, is the cast. The cast is super fun. They all have very eccentric personalities, but it's not done in a way that's overwhelming, I would say. So that's very good. But yeah, man, that fan service part though, that I ain't gonna lie to you, that might that might catch you. I'm just saying. I ain't saying to call me, the plot catches me, but just in case you want some fan service in your life, I definitely recommend this one. Some fan service with a good side of plot. You know what I'm saying? So also, this is made by the same person that did Akame Got Killed, so he be popping off. So yeah, the latest chapter had a super huge twist in it that was really good, and really looking forward to what's going on next. So I would definitely say checking this one out. And if you hate the title like me, let's make a petition to get the original title back on here, but I doubt that'll happen, so let's not waste our time. But yeah, so that's it for this one. Let's move on to the next one. Next up is Demons of the Shadow Realm, which is made by the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist, Hiromu Awakawa. And this is actually following the story of Yoru, who is living in this remote farm area, and then one day these two monsters show up. They're actually demons, and they let him know hey, we're contracted to you, we serve you, saying master, give us our orders and stuff like that. And he's just yo, I'm just a farmer, bro, I need y'all to back on up, I just hunt, that's it, don't bother me. And turns out actually that Yuru, it's hard to say the name, actually has a twin sister, Asa, who he was separated from as a young child and hasn't seen since. I think now he's like 17, 18, maybe 15. Can't remember. But yeah, so one day in his village, a lot of people show up attacking and killing a lot of the villagers. And then he is, saved and rescued from it by these two people. And they let him know, like, hey, demons are real and there's the society that wants to take you in and want you to use your demons for bad. But turns out his long lost sister Asa is a part of that society, so now we gotta get down to the truth of what's really going on. And yeah, it's actually really good. Like the cast is pretty fun. Yoru is actually very interesting because it's that thing of seeing like a farm boy or like a rural person get thrust into society. Or I guess you could say it's kind of like a time travel thing where like Yoru has no idea how technology works, but he's trying to figure it out as time goes on. But everything that happens, he's fascinated by. So that's pretty cool. The society itself is actually pretty interesting, just to see how deep it goes with normal society. And then also, I'd have to say another bright thing about it kind of would be the demons and their powers. Like it's very interesting to see like the concepts used and also like how they blend in, and also seeing the demons' relationships with their masters is really cool. Like I said, Yoru has two, and both of them they act just like him. So it's like this sibling bond between man and monster. So that's pretty cool. His sister Asa, she's like the straightforward, like the straight man in a lot of situations. Like very blunt, doesn't really get sarcasm or doesn't really get like idioms and stuff like that. So that's normally really funny when that happens and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, very good. The cast is cool. The plot itself of like trying to figure out the mixture of who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, what's the actual true story. It keeps you on edge. And yeah, I mean, it's the person who made Fullmetal Alchemist, so ain't no way she gonna flop. So hey, check it out because so far the first volume very good. I think it should get you attached pretty good. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this one. Just quick cut. There's only one volume out. Another volume comes out, I think, in a couple months. So we'll see what happens then. But yeah, really good. It's made by the GOAT. So let's see what happens there. But that'll be it for the first part. Let me know what you think about this part in the comment section. Let me know if you read any of the series that I talked about. If not, let me know which one caught your interest. And yeah, let's keep a conversation going about it. But that's it for this first part. And this is your boy Mike Max. So I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
This shit is too easy. Tell them I have no rivals. When I walk up in the spot, they know they nothing to me, and they gotta beg for their survival.